Imagine being short, like how much easier this would be. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jessica Layla. I wanted to just pop in here real quick and let you know that this is a part 2 of a video I did previously, and I will link it right up here. So watch that before you watch that one for some context, and let's just get straight into it. So of course we have to start by cutting the paper and taping it down. In part 1, I divided the video by showing you the first 5 paintings I did. We're going to do the same thing here to warm us both up. So for painting number 1, I really wanted to try something new. Something I had never done before. I started by drawing a circle with a watercolor pencil. This doesn't look right. I filled in the background with a light pink and then started on this hole. Any guesses, anyone? Any guesses? Okay, here's a hint. This is frosting. It's a donut. I used a watercolor pencil for the base, blended it, then added dark pink to the edges for shading. And I also filled in the middle of the donut hole. For some reason, I completely forgot about that. I was having such a great time doing this that rather than letting it dry like I should have, I just went straight into the actual donut part itself. Looks great. After that dried a little bit, I went in and darkened the background up a bit because I felt it was kind of washed out. This still looks wet. Why can't I just exercise some patience? Anyway, it's sprinkle time. I completely forgot how sprinkles worked for a minute, so I made them all go in the exact same direction. Here's number 1, dried, I'd like to point out, and finished. Honestly, I was quite happy with it despite it looking a little wonky. I've never ever done food product before, so for a first attempt it wasn't horrible. Okay, so I may have been binging Mariah Elizabeth videos lately and decided to draw some inspiration from her videos. Keeping up with the pink frosting idea, I decided to make it a drizzly, dripping frosting. So I used my watercolor brush pens here, and then I used some water to blend it all out. So now I'm attempting to shade them. Obviously, I went in just a little bit too heavy at some points. It's all under control. Honestly, I didn't used to shade any of my paintings, so I'm still kind of new to this whole thing, so please excuse my lack of skill. So there was this little green spot on the paper before I even started. I don't know where it came from. So I decided to hide that by adding sprinkles. I actually have no idea what color sprinkles are, so I just went with whatever seemed the brightest and would stand out against the pink. I tried to line them with white acrylic paint, but it didn't really do what I was envisioning. So instead I just decided to add white sprinkles. Peel the tape up, and here's number 2 finished. Do the signs make me feel a little bit anxious? Actually, yeah, they do. But you have no idea how many times I restarted projects halfway through because I just did not like the way they were turning out. So I decided to call this one done. Number 3 is switching things up. I promise. I'm low-key obsessed with the night sky, so of course I had to include this in part 2. So the painting was doing whatever this is. Things I did not want it to do. But it's all under control. I just kept blotting on the watercolor and it definitely started to take shape. At this point, I wasn't 100% certain at what I wanted to do, but with me it's almost always a night sky, sometimes with a galaxy, but almost always with stars. After letting this dry very thoroughly, I do a second coat because I really want this to be saturated and bright. Again, I let that dry for about an hour, and after that dries, it's now time for the most exciting part, stars! And if you watched any of my other videos, you know that I like to use white acrylic paint and a toothbrush rather than just a regular paintbrush. So now we're moving on to some basic scenery to pull this whole thing together. At first I was like,
let's not overdo the trees.
But it just kind of looked bald. So I did a line of trees. I'm sorry, I couldn't stand all the I just couldn't stand all the nakedness. And now to me, it finally looks complete. Peeling up the tape and, okay, a little bit gone under, that's fine. Wait,
Oh my god! What is that?
I swear, this did not happen at all last time. And now suddenly, the exact same tape I've been using this entire time has decided it doesn't want to do the one and only job it has. In fact, if anything, it ripped my other paintings. There's literally no way to fix this. But I refused to scrap it. So what I decided to do was try and cover it with acrylic paint, but here's it done, I guess. I don't know. I would love this if not for that. Actually, there's one way to fix this, and it's to trim off the top. Number 4 is definitely my favorite out of this group. So I was thinking a nice ombre sky would make for a good mountain background, but the blue was just way too bold. I ended up blending it so much that just the original teal color was all that was really left. Using the same color as the background, I added 3 overlapping mountains. At some point, my brain was like, this is a one-color challenge. I didn't use any other color except for the teal. I wasn't going for like a really realistic, shaded, beautiful effect. I just wanted something nice and simple. I added a row of trees and whoa, that's chunky. Okay, this is a special one. He doesn't want to look like the other trees. Peeled up the tape, and another frickin' tragedy. So I was like, maybe white acrylic paint can fix this. It cannot. It literally cannot. It just blends in with the watercolor. Again, I decided I like this painting too much to scrap it and start over, so we're gonna have to deal with it. Now on to number 5. Okay, so I have some bad news. I was looking at other people's art on Google of all places, and found a painting that I really liked, so I decided to make a very similar one. The bad news is, I cannot find the original image I was looking at, and I'd honestly love to give the original creator credit where it's due. So if anyone, anywhere, knows anything at all, just let me know. Okay, okay, back to the voiceover. Okay, so about the painting. I laid down some very bright yellow watercolor, and made an ombre with this blue. The yellow is very bright. After that thoroughly dried, I laid out how I wanted the city silhouette to look. Honestly, I have only painted a few of these in my lifetime, and they never really turn out that good. Why does this thing kind of look like a heart rate monitor? But I was using a reference image, as I mentioned, and kinda was just letting my mind flow in whatever way it wanted to. One thing I learned in failing at many of these is to make only one large, really tall building, and the rest all short but uneven. Also, I don't know why, but adding small little details like point line thingies and little sharp bumps on the top of the buildings give it minor detail that helps it flow differently. Now for the satisfying part, filling it in. This probably sounds like a lie to cover up the fact that I have no idea if this is good or bad, but I was going for a certain effect that was unrealistic and watery. Again, Google is my place of inspiration, and there's so many art styles that I just blatantly steal from.
What?
Could I ever possibly make a realistic looking city? Probably not. Now I'm just adding finishing touches, correcting some of the buildings, and now it's time for the tape. Okay, pretty nice and clean. Was my tape on wrong? Was it crooked? Or did this just decide it wanted to leak again? I sat there for a minute contemplating if it was worth correcting it or not, and chancing the nice coloring I had, and I decided against it. Why does this keep happening though? Anyway, here's the final thing. Well, would you look at that? We only have 5 more to do before we can add all of them up onto the wall and make this an even 50. Imagine being short, like how much easier this would be. Okay. Frickin'. So if you remember in part 1, to realizing that I forgot to put this one up on the wall, so now everything's uneven, and I'm gonna have to change the way the rows are, which means it's gonna look different on camera. Okay, so because we have that spare, here's the plan. We're gonna make 10 rows. Wait. We're gonna make 5 rows of 10. So it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not necessarily that far down though. Alright, so that's the plan, so I guess we should just get started then. And officially make it 50. In case you were wondering what I used to tape these up, regular duct tape! What? Alright guys. Here they are. Let's just get into putting them on now. So I just want to give you a final look of how they all look up on the wall. This video took probably over a month, from the painting, planning, the editing, the filming, the cutting it together. And I'm gonna be really honest with you, there were times where I considered just privating part 1 and never doing part 2. Look at him. So beautiful. I really enjoyed my time doing this, although it got really frustrating at certain points. Why is that happening? So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this little series, and hopefully I will see you all here next time.